Welcome to video 4, Workflow Systems. So now that you have your business, I find that it's important to have some workflow systems in place for routine tasks to help you work more efficiently and make sure that you are dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's that you need to in order for your business to run smoothly. Here are the 5 areas that I recommend having some workflow systems in place. You don't necessarily need to have all of these or even be working all of these all of the time, but it is definitely helpful and will save you time if you have some thought behind these particular areas. The first area is batching your content. So I said in an earlier video back in marketing that I don't want you to feel like you have to become a social media influencer for your business to be successful. And I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. However, you do need to be putting some time and effort into promoting your business consistently. So here's what I recommend for that. First, I recommend spending about 20 minutes a day on your socials. So you're going to be doing this so that way you can be checking in any Facebook groups that you have become a part of. That would be like your homeschool groups or professional groups that you're in, tutoring groups that you're in, even parent groups that you might be a part of. Spend some time checking into those groups, adding value where you can. Next, you're going to be wanting to look at the trends of what seems to be performing well on social media and what you could possibly use for your own business. Next, I do recommend doing some kind of blogging. I personally love blogging. I blog twice a month, so every other week I will put out a blog. From that one piece of content, that 3-paragraph blog, I'm able to boost the search engine optimization of my website by making sure that I'm using the keyword search terms that my ideal client would be looking for. The more times that those search terms appear on your website, the higher your website will appear when somebody types those search terms in. So if they are looking for private English teacher and you have that written on your website 50 times, then your website will come up higher in the search than somebody who maybe only has it on their website 20 times. Also, with blogging, you have the added benefit of having multiple pieces that you can sort of pull out as quotes or sound bites, inspiration for reels, carousels, static posts that will all tie back to the blog that you've written that you can then use to drive traffic to your website. And it's also great for inspiration because sometimes it's hard to figure out what you want to say on social media when you're trying to show up 4 times a week. Next, I recommend creating some email templates. Since you will be sending out multiple emails, at least in the very beginning, it's really helpful to have some email templates. I personally have mine saved in a Google Doc, so that way I can just copy and paste it into my email, change the things that need to be changed before putting in the email address of the person I'm sending it to. I have templates for your introductions to that you would be sending to schools, to the content teachers, to the counselors and the administrators of introducing yourself and your business and how you can help. I have a template for that. I also have a template for inquiry follow-ups. So if somebody clicks on the contact me or sends me an email or wants to know more about it, I have a template for that. And then I also have a template for post consult that would be kind of part of another extension of the inquiry follow-up. And then I also have just a little very quick template of a lesson or meeting reminder. And I find that sending those when someone has scheduled a meeting with you makes it a lot more likely that they will either reschedule if they need to reschedule or actually show up to the meeting that they have scheduled. So those are a few of the, if you could just write kind of a draft that you can keep as a template, that will help make sure that you are giving the best customer service you can, as well as saving you time and not having to recreate it every single time you have to send one of those emails. So that's the first area that I recommend having some workflow systems in place. The next area is having an onboarding process. So when I'm onboarding a new student, I have them complete a new student form that is a Google form. And then I also have like a worksheet that I fill out when I am meeting with them and their families. And on my New student questionnaire that I have that's my Google form is more general information about them as a learner, the experience that they have in my content area, any areas that they would like to focus on. And then I also have a section that goes through my service agreement. So that way, before they even get on a call with me, they understand what my policies and procedures are. Of course, we go over that again later, but the more often you can tell them, the better idea they have of what the expectations are going to be in our working relationship. Next, I have a worksheet that I fill out that just makes sure that I'm collecting the same information for all of my students. And that's a piece of paper that I can refer back to as I'm working with my students and I'm building out their customized lessons. Next, I have a welcome video that kind of walks them through our online learning space. So it's something along the lines of, hi, new student. I'm very excited to get to working with you. I just want to show you quickly around our Google Classroom and where you will find the different things that you will be accessing on a regular basis. You can do that with Zoom because you can record your Zooms. You can record a Loom video. There's multiple ways that you can record this for free. Just do a quick search of free recording on your search browser and you'll come up with some options there. The third place I recommend having some sort of a workflow system in place comes with your scheduling. So personally, I have Calendly. I know other teachers who use TidyCal. I've heard good things about HoneyBook. I know that there are multiple platforms that you can use for scheduling. So research and find out which one is going to work best for you. But you want to have a work schedule for yourself of your hours that you want to be working. And that's back in, I think, video 2 in your workbook. You should have a place where you have that written out. Well, once you have your scheduling software, whether it's Calendly, TidyCal, or something else, you're going to put in your working hours, your available working hours. And then you can link that up to another calendar. Mine is linked to my Google Calendar. Then I will fill in my teaching schedule or whatever meetings I have. I make sure that I have all of those filled in. I personally like to work a month at a time. So at the end of March, for example, I went ahead and I put all of my April working hours in, all of my scheduled hours in. So that way, if somebody wanted to schedule a consult with me, they would then have to choose from any available hours that are not already scheduled. Then those, when someone books with me, it will take up that block in my Google Calendar and I will be alerted that someone has scheduled a time slot with me. That helps to make sure that you don't have any double books or missed appointments as you're working. You can also decide if you want to have a allocated period of time for makeup lessons. So we talked in the previous video about having some sort of cancellation policy or reschedule policy, whatever your policy is. If you wanted to have a designated time where students could make up lessons if they gave you the 24 or 48-hour notice that you require as per your policy, having that chunk of time that they can schedule themselves, I think can be a really nice way to possibly take maybe the sting or the reluctance out of saying that you were not willing to prorate someone's monthly bill because they missed a lesson. If they have the opportunity to schedule a makeup lesson, then that puts the responsibility to show up for their lessons back on them. The fourth area that I absolutely recommend having some workflow systems in place is going to be on your bookkeeping and your accounting and invoicing systems. So personally, I use Wave. I have used QuickBooks in the past. There are others out there. If you would like to, feel free to make a recommendation to me. If there's one that you absolutely love that you think I should investigate in order to recommend to other teacher entrepreneurs, I'm always open for that. But right now, I'm very happy with Wave. It's free, it syncs up with my bank account, and it functions as a payment processor. Additionally, I'm able to schedule recurring payments, which I absolutely love, and that has saved me so much time and helps me get paid more quickly. When I was using QuickBooks, I didn't have the option for my students to input their credit card information, to where as soon as my bill would go out, they could just have it like on auto pay. But Wave allows me to have that option. So as soon as my invoice goes out, it is paid immediately. The money is automatically deposited into my checking account within 3 days. And that has really been a game changer for me, and something that I could set up and automate and just check on every couple of weeks to make sure that things are going out as they should, without having to spend a half an hour to an hour or more each month making sure that I'm putting in all of the proper information and that I'm sending it out in a timely manner, and making sure that I'm sending out reminders that your bill is going to be due soon. Your bill is due now. Your bill was due. I can have all of that automated, and that has been a huge time saver for me. It will also generate reports for you that you can either use for preparing your own taxes or giving to a tax professional to prepare your taxes for you. And then when we're talking about money, I do recommend talking to your bank or a financial planner or some other type of financial advisor. Oftentimes they will talk to you for free. They will answer your questions for you and tell you what their institution is able to offer you as far as what's going to be the best account type to manage your money and to transfer your retirement into. So just so you know, those are free services that you can reach out for just by contacting them and asking to schedule an appointment. And then finally, additional income streams. If, like me, you find that you are creating a lot of your own original resources for the students that you're teaching, why not monetize those as well? So you could open a TPT store, you could sell your resources on Etsy. Those are some of the options where you can monetize things that you are already doing in your business. Other options would be setting up some consulting and advocacy. I know teachers who are helping to advocate for special education services. I know some that are doing parent education to help them understand the IEP process, for example. I have others that are doing consulting, both with families, but also with schools, with curriculum that they have created. So there are other ways that you can monetize your expertise, and it's helpful to have some systems in place to help with that. You could also create self-paced digital courses like the one that you are doing now that does not have a live component. You could also create other courses that do have a live component, like my Mindset Bootcamp or my Jumpstart program. And then you could also create workshops, for example, a parent education workshop. I know a teacher that is doing that. So these are other areas that you may want to consider having some workflow systems in place. And that concludes all of the information that I have for you in the Intro to Private Practice Teaching. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I do have one more video for you about how the private practice teacher can continue to support you on your journey of building and creating your business. And in that video description underneath is a coupon code where you can use the $27 that you paid for this course that you have just now finished. And you can apply that $27 to another one of my courses if you would like to take it, just simply using that code. And I hope to see you in the next video.